Bonsoir, bienvenue au Festival International du Film de Marrakech. Good evening, welcome to the Marrakech International Film Festival. My name is Andrea Picard and I'm a programming consultant to the team here. And I'm very pleased to be welcoming you to this screening of Universal Language by Matthew Rankin. The film is part of our 11e Continent section, which many of you probably know is our most adventurous section. I am Canadian and I do take great pride in this film. It premiered in Cannes at the Quinzaine des Réalisateurs, where it won the inaugural Audience Award, and it has been delighting audiences ever since. And in fact, it is Canada's entry to the Oscars. This is Matthew Rankin's second feature film. He has made numerous short films before that. He has an amazing imagination and cinephilia, which you will see in this film. There are great moments of Canadiana, but also there are examples of his great cinephilic homages to Iranian cinema. I think even though there's comedic elements, absurd elements, slight melancholia, the film is really talking about cross borders and a universal language that we all aspire to, and empathy. So we could not be more pleased to have such a large team with us. Please welcome to the stage Matthew Rankin, the director and the producer, Sylvain Corbeil, executive producer, writer, and actor Firouzabadi, executive producer, writer, and actor Pirouz, Nemati, and the sound designer, Sarah Ratcliffe.
Salam Dustan. Merci d'être là. C'est vraiment un cadeau pour nous d'être avec vous ici à Marrakech. Merci pour l'accueil, merci au festival. Le film que l'on vous propose, c'est un film, une aventure interdimensionnelle qui est très poétique et c'est une expression de l'amitié qui nous réunit. C'est un film que j'ai fait avec vraiment mes amis vraiment proches et c'est vraiment une expression de notre vie ensemble. Alors je vous dis merci, thank you, shukran, Soleymanlou, koram dankon, bon cinéma.
So thank you so much for this beautiful film and congratulations. You said that this film stemmed from friendship. It's dedicated to friendship. You obviously have a community here with you, a very beautiful one. But I want to start from the beginning. Obviously, there was something that led you to these three interlocking stories. Can you tell us about the genesis of that?
Sure. D'abord, merci tout le monde d'avoir écouté la chose. C'est un cadeau pour nous d'être avec vous. Oui, et donc voilà, donc il y a trois histoires dans le film effectivement, et tout vient de ma vie. Je vois le film un peu comme une autobiographie hallucinatoire. Et les deux filles, ça vient d'une histoire que ma grand-mère m'avait racontée où elle était petite. Pendant la dépression, sa famille était très pauvre et elle et son frère ont trouvé un billet d'argent gelé dans la glace sur les trottoirs de Winnipeg. Puis l'histoire qu'elle m'a racontée, ça se ressemble beaucoup à l'histoire qui est racontée dans le film. Et quand j'ai découvert plus tard le cinéma iranien, je pense notamment au grand film du studio Kranoun, il y avait une sorte de résonance, une sorte d'écho entre l'histoire de ma grand-mère qui habitait à Winnipeg et ces films iraniens à l'autre bout du monde. Et c'est quelque chose qui m'avait touché et donc je voulais explorer ce langage cinématographique à travers l'histoire de ma grand-mère. Et là, l'histoire où Pirouz joue le rôle principal de Massoud, ça c'est basé sur mon père qui était un grand avocat je sais pas, les banalités de Winnipeg. Et bien sûr, la troisième histoire, c'est à propos de moi. En fait, c'est moi qui joue moi-même et tout est exprimé à travers le prisme de langage cinématographique.
And I think you did take a formative trip to Iran, did you not?
Oui, quand j'étais très jeune et naïf, je suis allé en Iran parce que j'adorais le cinéma iranien et je voulais étudier en cinéma là-bas. Et donc, je suis allé, j'étais très naïf et ça n'a pas vraiment fonctionné, mais j'ai rencontré beaucoup de gens qui étaient vraiment super et ma vie a commencé une sorte de dialogue avec ce cinéma-là. Et là, plus tard, quand j'ai rencontré Pirouz, qui partageait cet intérêt-là, voilà, on a commencé à créer le film à partir de ça. Et donc, je trouve que chaque fois qu'on fait un film, on est en train d'apprendre comment regarder. Et donc, c'était un peu une formation pour moi de faire ce film. Donc, même si j'ai pas finalement étudié en Iran, c'était quand même une formation de faire ce film.
I know you're also a great cinephile, as you've just said, but something that's so beautiful about cinema is it affords you the chance for creative geography. It doesn't have to be through montage necessarily, but this is a beautiful act of commingling. Can you speak about that?
Oui, c'est ça, on le voit comme un diagramme Venn ou une pizza hawaïenne un peu. C'est pas exactement un film canadien, c'est pas exactement un film iranien, c'est pas exactement un film québécois, mais c'est un peu au point de confluence entre tous ces trois. Et ça, c'est un peu surréaliste comme proposition, mais je trouve pourtant que nos vies sont comme ça. Si on n'est pas contenu totalement dans des rigidités, dans des contenants, nos vies, notre expérience de la vie est quand même très fluide. Et toutes les vies touchent toutes les autres vies. C'est un truisme. Et donc, on voulait incarner ça à travers le langage cinématographique. Et ça, c'est quelque chose que le cinéma peut faire, que la politique ne peut pas faire, que l'Instagram ne peut pas faire. Et donc, ça, c'était un peu l'esprit dans lequel on a fait ce film.
I would love to hear from Pirouz and Ilan, because you incarnate several roles here with writing, appearing on screen.
Yeah.
What was it like to be part of this adventure?
Yeah, it's, as Matthew said, this movie for all of us, what the seed was growing from the friendship, and most of the cast that you saw in the movie are best friends. So we were casting our best friends. We just did movie with all of joy and joyness. I'm saying this movie for us was a very, very joyful event, which is true. And then we're happy that Matthew asked us to do this movie, and then he said, okay, I want to do a movie in Winnipeg, and it's in Farsi. And we visited first time the Winnipeg together, and we said, wow, there's some resemblance between Tehran and Winnipeg architecture. Of course, Tehran is not that cold. But the heart of people is so warm, which was in Winnipeg, so there were so many similarities, and we just wanted to really make this movie as an art piece. So we really hope that we made it.
I think they've said most things. I don't know anything specific I can add to that at the moment.
Have you acted before?
No, this was the first time. Matthew and I did a small project together a few years ago, propaganda videos for Government of Canada. It was an amazing experience. We talked about this film at the end of that, and we were both excited. And this was before COVID, and when COVID happened, a lot happened for everyone, especially for Matthew. I guess it was 2 years ago that I can't even remember. But we said, okay, let's do this, and after years and years of imagining this film, we finally got to make it. And,
Now you're a traveling troupe. I love this.
It's amazing.
I have a question for Sasha. The sound design is quite layered, and seeing it again in the cinema for the third time, I have admiration for how rich it is. Can you talk about your process?
Well, sound design is so fun. I love layering sounds and creating a whole world through sound. and working with Matthew was really quite fun because he really lets me experiment and try different things. And so we auditioned a lot of winds, and we had to find the perfect cold Winnipeg wind, which was a feat. But we did it, and it's just working with Matthew and Ila and Pirouz and Sylvain, the best.
It does seem like it was very joyous. Sylvain, question for you. Sylvain is a great Canadian producer. He's produced so many wonderful films. How is this film different in its adventuresomeness?
Premièrement, je dirais tous les films sont différents, une chance, parce que sinon ça serait plate en tabarouette. Et donc, à chaque nouveau film, on se plonge dans des nouveaux univers, c'est des nouvelles personnes, c'est des nouvelles énergies, mais s'il y a une chose qui lie, je crois, tous ces films-là, c'est justement cette volonté-là de créer une œuvre qui dépasse les standards ou les attentes, si on veut, du grand, on va dire de l'industrie, ou qu'est-ce qui est attendu de nous. Je pense que comme artiste, on a besoin de mettre des efforts dans la joie, bien sûr, pour continuellement questionner les outils qui sont à notre disposition, puis essayer d'élever un peu l'art qui nous passionne tous, le cinéma. Donc, pour moi, il y a à la fois de la continuité là-dedans. Je trouve que moi, ce que j'aime, c'est m'associer à des visions qui sont fortes, à des visions qui sont particulièrement originales, qui posent un regard sur le monde qui est nouveau. Et j'ai juste envie que ces visions-là soient le plus diffusées possible, puis qu'elles viennent toucher d'autres personnes, parce que je trouve que l'art, c'est un puissant vecteur de rencontres humaines, mais aussi de rencontres avec soi-même, sur notre regard sur le monde. Donc moi, c'est ça mon mandat. Je ne suis qu'un serviteur au service de l'art. Voilà.
I am going to open it up very soon, but speaking of vision, Matthew, I just want to talk about your visual language. I love the compositions in this film, the cinematography. You make Winnipeg look so interesting, all the beiges, all the grays. Can you talk about the aesthetics behind the film?
Oui, mais moi j'adore le brutalisme, ça c'est quelque chose que j'aime vraiment beaucoup, et à Winnipeg il y en a. Le Canada a été construit surtout aux années 60-70, et donc il y a beaucoup de brutalisme dans l'architecture, et justement comme il a dit, il y a une sorte d'écho entre les édifices beige à Winnipeg et les édifices beige qu'on trouve à Téhéran. Donc on trouvait que c'était comme un bon diapason visuel pour nous. Mais je dirais que le brutalisme est quand même, je dirais que ça énergise aussi le propos du film. C'est comme, le film joue avec beaucoup de points, like points on the compass. Je ne sais pas comment dire ça. Mais l'idée que si le brutalisme est comme une métaphore, mais c'est pas que c'est une métaphorique, mais c'est comme on voulait que l'univers soit populé de murs concrets, et que les gens passent de façon très fluide entre les murs là. Et ça c'est un peu notre regard sur le monde, c'est qu'il y a quand même, on habite dans une époque qui est de plus en plus binaire, qui est de plus en plus rigide. Mais nous, comme humains, on a une certaine obligation de passer à travers de façon fluide et de trouver des rapports fluides. Et donc, le brutalisme sert à énergiser cette idée-là.
I wanted to ask you a question to you three regarding the writing. How was the writing process of the film? And how did you write, including all these references to Iranian cinema, the richness and the diversity of art direction, and also the crossing of the different styles?
Well, it really was a conversation. I would describe the writing process as an ongoing conversation. Pirouz sort of described it. We were talking about it for years, for a long time. The story, as I say, sort of has an autobiographical element, but we really started, working on it together through speaking, and even during the filming, we discovered some new scenes that weren't even in the script. So it was a very organic fluid process of writing. It was not like, here's the script and now we film it. It was, we were constantly sort of discovering it together. It was a lot of that.
Yeah, it was a whole community. I mean, a lot of people were non-actors, and the way Matthew described it, he really had this kind of open approach that everyone really was able to express themselves. As he says, it became one brain, kind of. The best example in love is the turkey seller, Hafiz Rangosar. It's our friend Bahram, and he came on the day of the shoot, and we had not planned him singing. He just came in and said, "Guys, I would like to sing for you." And we're like, "Okay." And you know, at the end of the day, turned on the lights, and he just sang, and we didn't know that we're going to use it. And at the end, it became so essential in the ending of the film, and even in the title of the film. So it was a lot of that, and yeah, it was very organic, I would say. And same with graphics and art direction. Louisa Shabat, our art director, worked with many of our friends who are graphic artists and so on. Everyone pitched in different ideas and different things, and we kind of, you know, did it together. So that was kind of the spirit of the film.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a strange process. I mean, people do this, right? I mean, they do it. I needed a lot of cajoling, though, and Pirouz and Ila and Sasha and Sylvain all cajoled me. They really twisted my arm. I had this fantasy of maybe getting a real actor to play me, because I don't really have an ambition to act, and I don't really like acting very much. I'm a very needy actor. I'm not a needy director at all. I don't need a lot of encouragement or validation or anything. But as an actor, I really do. I need to be mothered. So I was worried about that, and I wondered. I had a similar question. I didn't know if I could, if I would be able to do it. But then I thought that it might be actually kind of funny if I was badly cast as myself. So once I sort of figured that out, that could work, that it could work for the film that I was badly cast as myself, then I knew I could just dive right in and do it. But I mean, it was a real teamwork. Like we usually block the scenes with Pirouz, and then we'd sort of figure out the movements with Pirouz, and then I would jump in front of the camera. Oftentimes you don't see me I'm in the scene, but you don't see me, and usually that's Pirouz also.
My question is, what are like the biggest challenges in making this movie? It's very complicated to make such a movie like this, especially with the colors and like with three stories combined. It's very challenging. But like, I'd love to know your like biggest challenge in making this movie.
It's a great question. Winter was a challenge. It was very cold. Pirouz suffered in particular quite a lot, because he didn't have a scarf. But I don't know, maybe the turkey was the biggest challenge. Interestingly, the last shot of the movie was the first day we filmed with the turkeys, and I really wanted them to move exactly as they do in the film, but I thought, they're turkeys, there's an element of chaos. So we had planned like 3 hours to shoot the turkeys. And on the first take, they nailed it. Like they just really did it perfect. Then we waited for the light to get a little bit nicer, and the turkeys nailed it again. And anyway, we got very confident that the turkeys could do anything. And then a few days later, we were shooting with one turkey in this snow dump. This where they collect all the snow in Montreal and dump it in one spot. And it's about, maybe about 100 meters tall and 1 kilometer wide, all of snow. And we were filming there at night. It was very, very cold. And we were filming with this one turkey. And, the star turkey. And so, anyway, we did take one, and he kind of missed his mark a little bit. So we're like, well, let's see if he can hit the mark on take 2. So we kept rolling, and he came back around. We sort of ushered him back around. And then he passed through the light, not bad, and then he ran. He darted off. And we all watched in disbelief as he scuttled up this enormous tower of snow. and then just looked down at us. And that was the end of the shooting. But the next morning he was arrested by the Montreal Police Department. And he came back to, deliver what I think he would agree is a very soulful performance.
He needed some mothering.
That's right. He was even more needy than me.
Since we are talking about Iranian cinema, we have here with us one of the greatest Iranian directors of all time. Well, I can say one of the greatest directors of all time in the whole universe, Mr. Mohammad Rasulov. Can you give him a round of applause? So my silly question is, since yes, we know that the Canadian submission for the Oscar International movie is your film, but can we, since we have the Persian spoken language in the movie, can we consider your movie as an Iranian film? So thank you very much.
So many questions in that question. Yes. Okay. So the directors. Well, we do think of it, as I say, as a Venn diagram. We would never say this is an Iranian movie or even a Canadian movie. It's some sort of blending of both. We think of it as a transnational film. We think of it as an interdimensional film. We're trying to create some new way of looking at the world, which is beyond borders. And we really think of the film as a movie about absolute belonging and absolute solidarity, which is beyond these nation states. But as far as filmmakers that influence the film, I don't know. People say Wes Anderson, and I'm really happy that people say that because the sales agent thinks that that's good, that people will show up and watch it if they think it's like Wes Anderson. But I can tell you certainly he's not really an influence. I really love Jacques Tati, and of course there's no Wes Anderson without Jacques Tati. There's no Roy Anderson without Jacques Tati. There's not even, I would dare to say, there's not even Ulrich Seidel without Jacques Tati. And so I think that when people see Wes or Roy or Ulrich, really they're seeing Jacques. So I would say that. I think there's a lot of Chantal Ackerman in the film as well. I think there's certainly a lot of Winnipeg filmmakers and Canadian. I would say, Guy Maddin is hovering over this movie quite a bit. John Pay is another great Winnipegger. I have great internationalist longing, but I am a very parochial person, so the filmmakers from the city I grew up in do have a big influence on me as well. Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
What was the other question? The last one? Oh, there was the next movie and then there was another thing. The next movie. Huh? No. There's things coming in. People have been encouraging us. That's been nice, watching this film with many people. People have been saying, please make more films. So we are obliged to continue. But you had one last question, which was kind of funny. Oh, your weird question. You had a weird question. No, what was your question? It's hard to keep track. Yeah, so many. Do you feel answered?
Just to answer your question about the, could it be like an Iranian film? Like very technically speaking, no. Because, for the Oscars, it's really where the financing has been made. So any languages apart from English, movies can compete, and then the territory is determined on who's producing it. So in this case, it's only like a Canadian production. It's not a co-production. So that's a very technical answer. Is that it?
I felt if you community themes, giving meaning to the meaningless. Making secret the mundane. Friendship, the average.
No, there is a lot of that. It's that is something that we were sort of seeking. We all have a sense of the absurd. That's sort of something that was an important tuning fork for Ilan, Pirouz, and myself as we were, working on the script. And really everyone on our crew is sort of humor is a real kind of thing that we share, and sort of seeing the absurdity. There's something absurd about seeing the divine within the banal. I really wanted to film these boring movies with the same devotion that Terrence Malick will film a sunset. To me, there's something funny about that. It's not a joke exactly. Structurally speaking, it's not a joke, but to me, there's a sense of the absurd throughout the movie. So it is intended to be funny.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.